All right, get ready, because today we're going deep into the world of art theft.
Oh, yeah.
The legendary heist of the Mona Lisa.
Can't go wrong with that one.
Some truly fascinating accounts.
Yeah.
And trust me, this is going to be a wild ride.
Looking forward to it.
We're not just talking about a simple grab and dash.
Right.
This was an elaborately orchestrated scheme with twists and turns worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster.
I mean, it really does read like a movie script.
Okay, so let's start with the mastermind.
Okay.
Eduardo de Valfierno.
All right.
A rather unique character.
Yeah.
Connoisseur, forger, manipulator, all rolled into one.
Well, you know.
Not your typical art thief, right?
Not at all. No, no.
So he wasn't just looking to make a quick buck by snatching a painting.
No, his initial scheme was far more intricate than that.
Okay.
He actually focused on selling forged copies of famous paintings.
Forged copies, okay.
But with a clever twist.
All right.
A fake swap technique.
A fake swap. All right, break that down for me.
So imagine this. Eduardo would carefully plant a fake version of a famous painting in a smaller, less secure museum or gallery.
Okay.
He'd bribe guards to look the other way, ensuring he had access.
Got it.
Then he'd invite his potential buyer in letting them meticulously examine this fake.
So he's really setting the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Creating this illusion.
It's all about the illusion.
Of a legitimate viewing.
Oh, yeah.
Letting the buyer think they're getting this
behind the scenes.
Exclusive.
Exactly. And to really seal the deal, he'd go a step further.
Okay.
He'd bribe journalists to publish fake news stories.
Oh, my gosh.
About the painting being stolen.
Wow.
The buyer, reading this confirmation in the press, would be absolutely convinced.
Well, talk about manipulating the system.
That's the name of the game.
So the real painting was never actually in any danger during this stage.
Exactly. Eduardo was playing a long game.
So smart.
Minimizing his risk, building a reputation as someone who could procure any artwork.
Wow.
No matter how rare or supposedly secure.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Okay. But his ambition eventually grew, setting his sights on the ultimate prize, the Mona Lisa.
It's like, how can you not? Right.
Right.
It's the Mona Lisa.
What made him decide to go after such a high-profile target?
Well, it seems the allure of the Mona Lisa, her undeniable fame, was simply too strong to resist.
You can't resist her.
But this wasn't just a simple escalation of his previous scheme.
Right.
Stealing the Mona Lisa presented a whole new level of logistical challenges, requiring a bolder approach and a team willing to take a much bigger risk.
And that's where Vincenzo Perugia and the Lanciolotti brothers enter the picture.
You got it.
They were the ones who actually went into the Louvre.
They were the muscle.
And pulled off the physical heist.
Yeah, each bringing their own skills to the table.
Okay.
Vincenzo had previously worked at the Louvre.
Oh, insider knowledge.
Giving him valuable insider knowledge. Exactly.
Okay.
The Lanciolotti brothers, on the other hand, were known for their daring and willingness to, let's say, bend the rules.
So how did they manage to infiltrate one of the most heavily guarded museums in the world and make off with the Mona Lisa?
Well, I mean, the audacity of their plan is part of what makes the story so captivating.
Yeah.
They hid inside the Louvre overnight using a planned maintenance day as cover.
Okay, so workers coming and going.
Exactly.
Amidst all the activity.
Amidst the chaos.
They were able to blend in.
Yeah.
Wait, so they just took it off the wall and walked out?
Essentially, yes.
Wow.
They removed the painting from its frame and slipped unnoticed into the flow of workers leaving at the end of the day.
Wow.
What's even more astonishing is that Eduardo was so confident in his understanding of human behavior that he believed nobody would even notice the Mona Lisa was missing for a while.
And he was right.
Astonishingly, yes.
Wow.
It took over 24 hours for anyone to realize the most famous painting in the world had vanished.
I'm imagining the fallout from this was pretty major.
Oh, yeah.
What happened when the world realized the Mona Lisa was gone?
Chaos. Utter chaos.
Yeah.
The French authorities were in a frenzy, shutting down borders, launching massive investigations, and chasing every lead imaginable.
I bet there were some wild theories floating around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Newspapers were having a field day.
Oh, yeah.
And even a young Pablo Picasso, who was just starting to gain recognition at the time, was arrested as a suspect.
Wait, the Picasso? Seriously?
Yeah, apparently he had a connection to a previous art theft involving a stolen sculpture sure.
Oh.
So the police immediately jumped to conclusions.
Talk about wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, he was released shortly after.
Okay.
But it just goes to show the level of pressure and paranoia surrounding the investigation.
Every lead was pursued.
Every lead.
So if the police were hitting dead ends left and right,
yeah.
How did the Mona Lisa eventually resurface?
Well, the painting actually reappeared 2 years later.
Okay.
And not because of any police work.
Oh, really?
Vincenzo Perugia himself.
Wait, the guy who stole it?
The guy who stole it.
What happened? Did he have a change of heart?
Well, it seems a combination of factors led to his decision.
Okay.
First, Eduardo had vanished into thin air after the heist.
Okay.
Leaving Vincenzo with no instructions on what to do with the painting.
Oh, so he was left holding the bag.
Exactly. And second,
okay,
he was starting to feel the financial pinch.
Oh, right. Remember that incriminating letter to his father?
That letter?
We are rich.
We are rich, yeah.
So his initial plan was to profit from the theft.
It was.
But without Eduardo's guidance, he was left holding this very hot potato.
Yeah, so Vincenzo decided to try and sell the painting, believing he could cash in, and possibly even position himself as a patriotic hero by returning the Mona Lisa to Italy.
Right, right.
He reached out to an Italian museum claiming to have the painting.
He just walked into a museum and said, hey, want to buy the Mona Lisa?
Well, not exactly, but he did contact them, prompting the museum to send an art expert to verify its authenticity.
Makes sense.
Once they confirmed it was the real deal, the police were immediately brought in. And Vincenzo's game was up.
So the heist that had the entire world on edge
I know.
ultimately ended with a simple sale attempt gone wrong.
You could say that.
So what happened then?
But what followed was perhaps even more dramatic than the theft itself.
Okay.
Vincenzo's trial became a media spectacle.
Oh, my.
And he cleverly played up the patriotic angle,
Right.
claiming his sole intention was to return the Mona Lisa to her rightful Italian home.
Playing on those nationalistic sentiments, very smart move.
Oh, yeah?
Did people buy it?
Surprisingly, yes. There was a wave of public sympathy for Vincenzo.
Wow.
Despite the prosecution's skepticism and evidence, like that letter to his father.
Did he get scot-free?
Not entirely, but he received a surprisingly lenient sentence.
Okay.
Just 7 months.
Wow, 7 months.
And to add another layer of intrigue, the court decided not to pursue any accomplices, leaving Eduardo de Valfierno a free man.
Wow, this is incredible.
It is.
He orchestrated one of the most elaborate art heists in history, disappeared with, I'm assuming, a sizable fortune, and was never held accountable.
It seems so, but even with the Mona Lisa back in the Louvre, the story doesn't end there.
Oh, there's more.
There are lingering questions about the painting's authenticity.
Wait, are you saying the Mona Lisa hanging in the Louvre?
It might not.
Might not actually be the real deal.
The real deal, no.
How is that possible?
Well, it turns out there are multiple known versions of the Mona Lisa. And while the one recovered from Vincenzo is widely considered to be the original, there's evidence suggesting it might be one of Eduardo's expertly crafted forgeries.
Mind blown.
It is.
So we started with this audacious heist. And now we're questioning the very authenticity of one of the world's most iconic works of art.
It's a fascinating twist, isn't it?
I need to know more.
And it raises some intriguing questions.
Yeah.
If the Mona Lisa we all know and admire is actually a copy, where is the original? And what does that say about the value we place on art and our perception of authenticity?
This is going to keep me up at night.
I know, right?
I need to hear more about these other Mona Lisa versions and how we can even tell them apart.
Well, that's a great place to pick up in part 2 of our deep dive. We'll delve into the details of these different versions, explore the world of art authentication, and uncover the fascinating details that might just reveal the truth behind the Mona Lisa hanging in the Louvre.
I can't wait. I'm still reeling from that revelation about potential forgery.
A lot to take in.
Before we dive into the different Mona Lisa versions, I'm curious about the impact this whole ordeal had on the art world. Did it change anything?
Oh, absolutely. The theft of the Mona Lisa sent shockwaves through museums and galleries worldwide, forcing them to reevaluate their security measures.
So you're saying this one event essentially revolutionized how museums protect their art?
In many ways, yes.
Wow.
It exposed the vulnerabilities of even the most prestigious institutions, leading to a rapid adoption of new security technologies and protocols.
I mean, it's hard to imagine now with all the cameras, alarms, and laser grids we see in museums today.
Exactly, but back then, the emphasis was more on displaying art for public appreciation rather than safeguarding it from potential thieves.
So Eduardo, in a twisted way,
I guess you could say,
forced the art world to step up its game.
You could say that, yeah.
It's fascinating how a single event can have such a ripple effect.
It really is.
Let's go back to those different versions of the Mona Lisa you mentioned.
All right.
What makes them unique, and how can we tell them apart?
Well, there are actually quite a few copies and variations of the Mona Lisa out there attributed to both Da Vinci's students and later imitators. However, there are 3 versions that stand out as particularly intriguing.
Okay, so what sets these 3 apart?
So first you have the Louvre Mona Lisa, the one we've been discussing.
The most famous.
Arguably the most famous painting in the world,
And the enigmatic smile.
Right. Her composition, that enigmatic smile, and Da Vinci's signature sfumato technique are all instantly recognizable.
That smoky, almost hazy effect
Precisely.
gives her that ethereal quality.
Now, the second version is known as the Isleworth Mona Lisa.
Isleworth Mona Lisa.
It's named after the London suburb where it was discovered in 1913. This version is believed to have been painted by Da Vinci himself. Possibly even earlier than the Louvre version.
So we could be talking about an earlier draft.
That's one theory, yeah. The Isleworth Mona Lisa portrays a younger woman with a similar pose and composition, but with subtle differences in the background and details of her face.
Are there any definitive tests that can prove which one came first?
Well, that's where things get tricky. Art authentication relies on a combination of things. Scientific analysis, historical documentation, and expert opinion. And even with all those tools, there's often room for debate. Especially with works as old and valuable as the Mona Lisa.
So it's like a giant art history puzzle with no guaranteed solution?
In many ways, yes. Now, the third version adds another layer of complexity to this puzzle. It's known as the Prado Mona Lisa, housed in the Museo del Prado in Madrid.
Okay, so we have the Louvre version, the possibly earlier Isleworth version, and now this Prado version.
The Prado version,
What's the story with this one?
The Prado Mona Lisa is believed to be a contemporary copy, possibly painted by one of Da Vinci's students in his workshop while he was working on the original.
So they were side by side, the master and the apprentice.
That's the thought.
It's fascinating.
And it's fascinating.
Because the Prado version reveals details that are obscured in the Louvre Mona Lisa due to aging and restoration work.
Exactly.
So the background landscape is much clearer.
The background landscape is much clearer.
And you can see subtle details in the subject's clothing that are no longer visible.
No longer visible in the Louvre version.
So in a way, this copy provides a glimpse into what the Louvre Mona Lisa
might have looked like
in its original state.
Exactly. And this is where the concept of provenance comes in.
Okay, I've heard that term thrown around in the art world. But I'm not entirely sure what it means.
Provenance is essentially the history of ownership for a piece of art. It's a record of where the artwork has been, who owned it, and how it changed hands over time.
Got it.
A solid provenance helps establish authenticity and adds to the artwork's value.
So if we can trace a painting back to Da Vinci's studio, for example, that strengthens its claim to authenticity. But unfortunately, with artworks this old, provenance records are often incomplete or ambiguous. Leading to debate and speculation.
Leading to a lot of debate.
Okay, so we have these 3 versions.
We do.
Each with its own unique features and mysteries. But coming back to the possibility that the Louvre Mona Lisa is a fake. Is there any evidence to support that claim?
There are a few intriguing details beyond the existence of these other versions that have fueled this theory. For example, some experts point to the fact that the Louvre Mona Lisa was stolen relatively easily, suggesting it might not have been considered as valuable at the time as we perceive it today.
So if it were a known copy, maybe the security wasn't as tight?
That's one possibility. Additionally, there's the fact that Eduardo de Valfierno was already creating and selling high-quality forgeries.
He clearly had the skills and the network
to
pull off such a deception.
And some believe he might have used the heist as an opportunity to swap the real Mona Lisa with one of his forgeries.
Wow.
Leaving the copy in the Louvre.
Oh, my God.
And selling the original to a private collector.
Wow. If that's true.
I know.
It's the ultimate art world conspiracy.
It is.
But how could he have pulled off a swap like that?
Well,
wouldn't someone have noticed?
Remember, it took over 24 hours for anyone to realize the Mona Lisa was missing.
Right.
And during that chaotic period, with everyone focused on finding the stolen painting, it's conceivable that a switch could have occurred.
So we're left with this tantalizing possibility.
We are.
That the Mona Lisa we all know and admire, the one that draws millions of visitors to the Louvre each year,
I know,
might actually be a meticulously crafted fake.
It's a question that continues to fascinate art historians and conspiracy theorists alike.
It really is.
And until definitive proof emerges one way or the other, the mystery of the real Mona Lisa will endure.
This is incredible.
It is.
We've gone from a daring heist to the world of art authentication, and now a possible art world conspiracy.
Right.
What else can this deep dive uncover?
Well, we've talked about the art and the theft, but there's another crucial element to this story that we haven't explored fully.
Okay.
The role of the media in shaping public perception and the cultural impact this event had on society.
Okay. Ready to explore how the media shaped this whole Mona Lisa saga?
Yeah.
We already touched on how newspapers sensationalized the story.
I did.
But what were the long-term effects?
Well, you have to remember, this was the early 20th century, a time when mass media was really starting to take hold. Newspapers were incredibly influential in shaping public opinion.
So they weren't just reporting the news.
Right.
They were actively shaping the narrative around the theft.
Exactly. And in the case of the Mona Lisa, they turned it into a global obsession.
Okay.
The story had everything. Mystery, intrigue, a priceless masterpiece, and larger-than-life personalities.
It's like something out of a Dan Brown novel.
Very much so.
Right.
The media played up the romantic notion of a daring thief.
Yeah.
Especially with Vincenzo Perugia.
Right.
They portrayed him as a kind of Robin Hood figure.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing from the rich French to return the Mona Lisa to her rightful Italian home.
But we know that wasn't his initial motivation.
Sure.
Right. He seemed more interested in the financial reward at first.
But the media narrative often overshadowed the more nuanced reality, and it's this romanticized version of the story that captured the public imagination and has endured over time.
So the media essentially crafted a legend that continues to influence how we view the Mona Lisa theft today.
Absolutely. And this also had a significant impact on the art world itself.
Right.
The media attention surrounding the theft,
even though it was negative.
Even though it was negative at first, ultimately propelled the Mona Lisa to a level of fame that no other painting had achieved before.
So Eduardo, in his own twisted way, helped make the Mona Lisa the most famous painting in the world.
Ironically, yes.
His
scheme, along with the media's relentless coverage, turned the Mona Lisa into a global icon.
Yeah.
A must-see attraction that continues to draw millions of visitors to the Louvre each year.
It's amazing how an event with such negative connotations could ultimately have such a positive impact, at least from a marketing perspective.
Right.
But beyond the fame and fortune, what about the cultural impact on society as a whole?
It definitely had a profound effect on how people perceived both art and security.
Okay.
For one, it highlighted the vulnerability of seemingly untouchable institutions. The fact that something as precious as the Mona Lisa could be stolen from the Louvre.
Right.
Well, it made people question the very notion of security and value.
It's like realizing that even the most secure fortress has its weaknesses.
Exactly. And on a deeper level,
Yeah.
it sparked a conversation about the nature of art itself.
Okay.
What makes a work of art so valuable?
Right.
Is it purely monetary?
Yeah.
Or is there something more, something intrinsic that transcends financial worth?
And this conversation continues today.
It does.
Right. With the rise of NFTs and digital art, we're still grappling with these questions of value, ownership, and authenticity.
Absolutely. The Mona Lisa theft, in a way, foreshadowed many of the debates we're having today about art in the digital age. Right. It forced us to confront the idea that value, whether in art or anything else, is often a matter of perception and social construct.
So in a way, this deep dive has taken us on a journey through art history, criminal psychology, the evolution of security, and even the philosophy of art.
We covered a lot of ground.
It's incredible how one event can have so many layers and connect to so many different aspects of our world.
It really speaks to the enduring power of a good story.
It does.
Especially one that involves mystery, intrigue, and questions that continue to linger even a century later.
And as we wrap up our exploration of the Mona Lisa heist, I think it's safe to say this wasn't just about a stolen painting.
It wasn't.
It was a catalyst for change, a cultural touchstone, and a story that continues to challenge our perceptions of art, value, and authenticity.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the curious case of the stolen Mona Lisa.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring this fascinating tale with us, and that you'll see the Mona Lisa.
Whether the original
or a clever copy.
Or a really good copy.
With a fresh perspective the next time you encounter her enigmatic smile.